You're listening to the Talking Shrimpers podcast, sponsored by Surgical Holdings.
Good evening and welcome to TSP. I'm your host, Sensei Phil. With me tonight is Charlie and Finn. Guys, it looks like it's going to be one of those nights where anything could happen and it all goes wrong. You went off for a drink, didn't you, Finn, and it chucked you out. I went off for a drink, come back, and Kev's fallen over here, leaning against my mic. Charlie's had a few issues. So hopefully everything will be normal from now on. How's your week been, Finn? What have you been up to?
Yeah, all good. Not really much, to be honest. Usually I have something quite relatively interesting to say, but not this week, to be honest. Just quite a boring week, chilling. Not really much to report.
You, Charlie?
Yeah, I've had a bit of a busy week, really. I've a lot on with work. I've had a couple of interviews and to do with, obviously, me winning the trials, the National Prison Dog Trials a few months back now. So a bit of the press has picked that up. So a few interviews, photo shoots and whatnot, which has been, So watch this space, If I've still got time for you on a Monday, I'll try and squeeze you in.
Yeah, exactly. Might be too busy signing autographs.
Yeah. But no, that's all good. So it's some good publicity, to be fair. Obviously, the prison service at the minute, it's it's all down in the dumps. So it's nice to have a bit of positive neuse come out of that. Obviously, I was on BBC Essex Sports. With Glenn Pennyfather. So little sort of 10-minute cameo appearance on that. And then that was all really. Weekend, I had sort of an early Christmas do with a few guys from work, which was nice. And back to it now.
Have you got your trees up yet, guys? That's the big question.
I have got mine up. Yeah,
you have. When was that up?
1st December. Get it up. Yeah,
that's all right. I'll let you have it on the 1st. Not before
exactly.
That.
I think any time in November is kind of way too early. But I think as soon as it hits December, anywhere in there is all right. I think.
I honestly don't know where my week's gone. It obviously must have been busy because I don't really remember any of it. Yeah, I mean, I've got a busy week this week because I've got my 4th Dan black belt exam on Saturday. I've trained for that for 6 years. And as you train for the black belts, in a black belt year, when you're training, you have to put a lot more training in. So it's just relentless. So about now you're exhausted and you can't wait to get it over with. So yeah, a few more nights training. I've got Friday off to do a bit more training in my dojo, and then Saturday away we go. Hopefully some good football as well.
What do you kind of do in that assessment? Like, what are they assessing as such?
It's a long exam. It depends on your all levels. You have an anatomy exam, which you have like a week or two before. The first Dan black belt, that's probably your most physical one. And it's hard because you have to do what's called a pre-test as well. So you have to do all the previous belts in one night. So it's quite hard going. It's mentally hard as well as physically. You obviously have to pass your anatomy exam, and you've also got a weapons assessment you have to pass, different levels for each belt. Now, obviously, I did that a few months ago, did my anatomy exam this week. So now I've just got that final bit. So there's a lot of mat work. There's a lot of techniques to do on the mat. I've also then got a number of katas I have to do, and they will randomize which ones they pick for you to do. And then I've got loads of a big spectrum of weapons katas as well. Some you do in pairs, some you do singly. Some I know which ones I've got to do, but then they'll pick random which ones you got to do. So it's about a 3-hour exam. It's hard going, very hard going. But listen, I can't wait to get in the bar at the end of the night. And I've heard that we are normally how they do it. They do change it from year to year. Like first Dan's go first, then second, and you're just waiting outside. And obviously the higher up you go, it can be a long wait. But I've heard this year that we're going first, which would be great. So if we get ours done at 9:30, by 12:30, we're sitting in the bar. I'm happy to sit waiting if we're done. And
Of course. It's the way around, isn't it? Otherwise.
So 6 years, get it over and done with. So I can't wait for that. And as I say, we've got a bit of football as well. We're going to chat football. Forest Green. Let's start. Obviously Saturday 2-1 defeat. Now, we were missing Taylor. We knew about that. We discussed, didn't we, last week, the defensive problems we might have. Goodliff was back. We could only name 6 on the bench. So there was a call up for graduate Julius Nurike. Now, he's had some limited experience with Hastings Sound. So I guess he was probably the pick of the guys that they were going to pick. I mean, physically, I don't know if you've seen him. You've probably seen him, Charlie. He's a very big lad, huge lad. I've mentioned before. So physically, he probably was the pick of the bunch. Probably not quite ready yet, but congrats to him getting a call up first of all. But yeah, we obviously were limited because I think Leon and Keenan were late pullouts with injury and illness. We knew about, obviously, Taylor was missing. I think it's his first miss in something like 64 games, 63 games.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So yeah, we were limited at the back, but for a long time we kind of frustrated them. Then we took the lead on 68 through Slavy. And I think, Charlie, you did the same as myself. You fully up to there, went away, come at the end of the game, we lost. It's like, what happened there then? So, yeah, disappointing result in the end. What were your thoughts? Start with you, Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, I was confident, as I said last week, I was quite confident going into it. Now, obviously, at the time, we wasn't aware of sort of the shortage on players, in the squad, which obviously has hindered us slightly in terms of the impact of like subs coming on. We said how important in previous games it's been having, that squad and those subs coming on, to freshen up, the last sort of 10, 15, 20 minutes or whatever's needed. And obviously part of that has been Leon and Keenan in recent games. So to have them both missing, it has been, it was, it's not something you could foresee happening. And, it did sort of have a bit of an effect on us, I think, to be honest. But saying that, I think we gave our own. I don't think, we could be too disappointed in the performance. I think, the first half, they may well have shaded maybe the possession a bit more, but I think we stood up to it very well, sort of limited their chances. And then obviously the second half, naturally, as the game sort of goes on, then, they're looking to attack more. It opens up pockets for us to counter attack and things like that. And ultimately, Slavy, we said it before, he's got a knack of being in the right place at the right time. He's a bit of a fox in the box down there. And, it was a good finish, good goal to go 1-0 up. And then you just sort of hope that, those last sort of 20 minutes or so, you got enough. And I think, unfortunately, I was actually travelling. So I then missed sort of the last 20 minutes. As I say, I was 1-0 up on the train. By the time I got off it, it was obviously, 2-1 down. Don't really know how we played in the second half, but from what I'm listening to or heard, I think we were unfortunate not to actually go 2-0 up. I think I think there was an opportunity to go 2-0 up. I think obviously if that happens, it's a completely different tie. But unfortunately, they scored quite a well taken goal. And then it's just that sucker punch, isn't it? You think when that first goal's in, just let's shore it up. Let's just make sure we don't concede straight away. And unfortunately, it's one of them goals, and look, we'll be disappointed because by all accounts, Hayes had a really good game. He made some really good saves and didn't have a poor game. It's just that shot from distance, which when you sort of first look at it, you think, oh, keeper should be doing better there. But, I don't know if it's taken a nick or, the ball's, from his point of view, there must have been, movement in that ball to beat him from that distance. But ultimately, yeah, it's a tough one to take. But we move on, and tough game with Rochdale on Saturday to look forward to.
I'll come back to the goals we conceded and the goalkeeper in particular. But yeah, Slavy again. Like I said the other week or last week, what I love about him, he scores all sorts of different goals. And that was a really good goal Saturday because literally he couldn't miss from there. But it's instinct. What I liked about it was instinct. And you can pick as a striker, you can pick up 4 or 5 extra goals a season by as soon as someone popping a shot off, run towards that 6-yard box, run towards the goal, keeper could fumble it, and it was brilliant instinct from him.
It's taking the gamble, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And, it paid off. That's what you got to do. Finn, what are your thoughts on Slavy?
Yeah, I think
7 now for him.
Yeah, he's a player that's just really surprised me this season, and not by any account because I didn't think he was good at Slough. I really did. I rated him when he was there, but he's just surprised me at how quickly he's kind of adapted to this level, I think. And what you're saying there about instinct, I think there's a lot of things you can kind of train and drill into players, like technique and finishing, things like that. But I think he has a real talent and natural ability to be able to get into the right places, and just his knowledge of the game is brilliant for his age. Yeah, he's definitely a player that's caught me by surprise, but in a really good way. And he's, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets double digits this season.
Well, he could be a big player for us now in the next few weeks, because it looks like, we'll come back to Dallas, but it looks like he might be out. Yeah, the goal's conceded. I mean, the first goal, it was a well-worked goal, to be fair. The ball landed for the fella in the box and he put it away. But I'm just thinking then, what worries me about Hayes, and this maybe is not so much a dig at him, but maybe a lack of leadership in the team at that time. Before the first goal, he's been booked 2 minutes before. So he's had a booking. 2 minutes later, he's conceded. Now, if I'm an experienced player, I'm saying, Hazy, calm yourself down now. You've just been booked, conceded. Let's just focus. Next 5 minutes, let's just everyone focus, get this line back. But then looking at that second goal, we've dropped off. We've allowed them to play around the box. No one's, no one's shutting down. And the guy's picked a shot off and he's made an absolute mess of it. So I think I can't just blame Hazy there. I mean, he has made a mess of it. There's no two ways about it. But I just don't understand why no one is shutting the guy down. First half, we've done it brilliantly. We've blocked them off. We've frustrated them. They're shooting from distance. And for me, when I looked at it, I was like, why have we not shut him down there? No one has shut the guy down. You're inviting him for a shot.
Yeah, I think it's one of them. It's typically, if they're picking a ball up as that sort of area, it's a sort of an area you sort of go, you know what, if you want to have a pop from there, feel free, because it's got to take something to beat the keeper. And yeah, as you say, it's kind of a half sort of leg out as a half attempt to kind of block it. There's no sort of real commitment to want to close the player down and put the block in. And part of me does think, now, is it just a case of, well, look, if he wants to have a shot from here, he's welcome to it, because, he's got to take some beating. And, it wasn't a worldie of a shot. It was just a shot that was on target, ultimately. And, and we've said it time and time again. Yeah, we've said it time and time again, just get the shot on target. And like you say, it just needs, to flick off the surface, a deflection, a loss of concentration, which it appears to be in that moment. I imagine in training, those sort of balls that are coming into, he's probably saving 99 out of 100 of them. Do you know what I mean? It looks like from the angle that we see, obviously on TV, it looks like it should be a really simple save. From especially from Hayes, he's someone he's not a, he's a quality keeper. It should be something, and he probably doesn't need us to tell him that it's something maybe he should have done better with. But like you say, it's about stopping that shot coming in the first place.
Yeah, collectively. I mean, as a former striker, I would be looking at that and saying, keeper's just been booked. He's just conceded. If I get a chance edge of the box, I'm going to pop one. Oh, it's exactly what I would have done. And when I saw him, I'm saying, have a shot, mate, because there's your chance.
Yeah.
They've all dropped off and you're inviting them. And I think if you invite trouble, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get it in this league against the top 6 sides, They've all got quality.
Yeah.
They can all...
Yeah,
they can all do it.
So.
And for me, it was just really frustrating. I think we should have talked to each other, said, calm down, boys, now, regroup. Let's get a point here. We've earned a point, at least. Let's at least get a point. But to throw it away like that for me, was just disappointing.
Yeah, and I think, Phil, it's like, I think I'm quite an optimist when it comes to football. So, when you look at that result and you think all the circumstances behind it, in fairness to the boys, there are a lot of kind of excuses as to why, we didn't get the win. You could say about injuries and suspensions and all sorts of things, right? But I think if we really want to be pushing the top spots and really pushing into, top 3, top 4, maybe even beyond, you've kind of got to stop, using the excuses in a way, because if you think any club in the league, I know we don't have a big squad as it is, so it's kind of different for us in a way, but any squad in the league at all goes through these issues across the course of the season, unless they're really lucky. And I think as a whole on the season, I think we've been relatively fortunate with players, availability. I don't think it's been, quite a disaster, maybe until now with obviously the defenders. And I just think, I can see there are excuses for this game, but I just wonder when, we stop using excuses and we just go and beat these teams. And I
Well,
know
Finn,
Forest Green are
you've perfectly brought me on to my next point. So I was
There you
going to
go.
talk about squad depth. Now, obviously, Crowther's has been loaned to Boston. Wind has been loaned out. For me, it's just with Wind gone, you've got a number of players on one card away from suspension. You've got a busy period. Like I said, this time of year, you're going to pick up injuries, you're going to pick up suspensions, you're going to pick up illness. All three of those. And unfortunately, that's what's happening. So you look at your squad depth, and that's where it tells you how deep your squad is. So for me, it was a strange time to loan out Crowther. I know he's not had a lot of he hasn't had any game time, but you've got to have someone coming in. You're playing Forest Green away. You've got Rochdale next week. Surely, if you're letting a defender go and you're already short, you've got to bring someone in. So it brings me on to my next point. Now, there was a very interesting question posed on Shrimp Zone. I'm not going to give you all the options. It was posted as, has your patience run out yet? So the top two that have currently been voted for, no, I'm happy, will come good in the end, and please, we have responsible owners. Second point was, I'm happy, but would like to see more investment from Kozu in the team. Where do you guys sit with that? I think it's a great question. Start with you, Charlie.
Yeah, so I think we have to be realistic in terms of where we are, and I know that we can sit here and we keep keeping it up. Like, well, you keep saying it. We were very close to not having a club and the likes. We kind of now need to. Part of me needs to need to move away from that now. Like we've got the new ownership and stuff. And it's a bit like Finn. There's only so many times you can keep going back and using certain. I'm not going to say excuses, but reasons and things, and they're valid. They are valid. We do have to be very mindful of where we've come from over recent years. But I think now we need to start looking forward, not keep looking backwards of where we've come from and how close we was. I think we want to look forward. And Kozu have come in and they've got their 5-year plan that they've stated, and it is all about sustainability, which is a massive part of it. And I totally get that. But I just think us where we are now, I think we are where we deserve to be, I think, in terms of our finance and things like that. Kozu have come in, I've been honest, we haven't got a budget to compete with some of these top 3,
No,
4, 5
absolutely.
sides.
Yeah, and we get that.
And we have to be mindful of that. However, how long can we keep using that excuse for? Ultimately, it's about the recruitment, and I mean, Kev said that there's still 1 or 2 players that he would maybe short that he wants in.
And that's my point, Charlie. The timing of letting Crowther go on loan. When you're already saying that, to me, it didn't make sense. And like I say, I think we have got a small squad, and we can't compete with those guys at the top. But I think now it's showing the time when we're losing a few players. It's showing that lack of depth.
My worry is, though, how many times, as I say, we could go the rest of this season and let's hope we stay in the playoffs and we might be able to get to Wembley again and we might be able to win it. That's a lottery. That's not a God-given.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's a very risky way of sort of playing, just hoping that you might win a playoff final to get out of the league. Now, you've only got the one up at the moment, which there's a lot of talk about. But there's got to be an impetus to try and get out of this league. And unfortunately, that is going to cost money. There's no two ways about it to get out of this league. You look at the teams that have got out of this league, they're teams that have got big squads, big depths. And, you might have to just, dig deep in your pocket a little bit to get these 1 or 2 players in that have got that little bit more quality to get you over the line. And I think that's all we're short. We're only 1 or 2 of those players away. We're not a million miles away from it. It's really difficult because you want to get out the league, and as soon as you get into EFL, it opens up many more doors and revenues and things like that. And it's a gamble, we look at Wrexham, for example. They spent a lot of money in, and I think it's well documented that if they didn't get up, they would be really close to. At what point do you stop throwing money at it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just building on what Charlie said, I completely agree. I think there's got to be a balance because
Yeah,
I don't
totally.
think any of us want them to just kind of throw all the money in, kind of get back in the
Mm.
situation we were before. But I get this about renewability and stuff, and I think obviously that's important. Sustainability, sorry, and obviously that's important. Keeping the club sustainable because it's something that we haven't had in so long. But I think there's also, as I said, got to be a balance where yes, we want to be sustainable, but we also want to get to the next league. And if you get into League Two, the kind of difference in money that you would be generating would be massive
Mm.
anyway. So I think, yeah, it's difficult because I know that because you have invested quite a lot of money as it is over time. I think they invested a few million before they'd even got the club.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
good point.
they have invested money, but I just think yeah, as Charlie said, you need depth. And I feel like there's been a few opportunities this season with players who are going either on loans or transfers to other clubs
Mm.
that I feel like we should have pounced on. I feel like Zach Brunt, for example, going to Boreham Wood, and Wellfield. And I feel like that
I
is
do,
one
yeah.
where we should have kind of pounced on.
Yeah.
That would be an ideal signing for us. That is the kind of player who got Barnet out of the league. And then you've got players like Regan Booty who went on
Yeah.
loan.
I was just
Went,
gonna I
went
was
on
just
loan.
gonna mention that, Finn. So Boreham
Yeah,
is a
and I thought
classic case who have
yeah,
probably not got the riches that maybe some of the other clubs have got, York and Forest
yeah,
Green. But yeah, you're right. They brought in Zach Brunt,
yeah,
scores goals, makes goals, went up last year with Barnet. He very good player. All right, we may have spent money for that kind of player on Dallas,
yeah,
which it was great signing. But you look at Boreham's situation, they're doing really, really well, probably pushing above their weight. And then you think, okay, they've got Brunt, they've got a very good side, doing really well. They've got Abdul Malik as well, very, very good player. And you think they don't really need anything. And then all of a sudden, Regan Boot is available. They come and get him on loan.
yeah,
That solidifies their place in the playoffs.
yeah.
But
Can I-
it don't just stop there. I mean, Boreham have done you don't just be up there by having a good attacking force. You've got to be very good at the back, good keeper.
Yeah.
Now, that's why I bring up the keepers at the moment. They have Ashworth, he's very, very decent keeper, but not great on the floor. So what they do, they go out and got a loanee from West Ham, 19-year-old Finley Henrik, very good goalkeeper. And he's got them partly where they are this season. And then what happens? Henrik gets recalled by West Ham. He's obviously doing very well for Boreham. So what do Boreham do? They don't just stick Ashworth back in. They go and take a gamble again with another youngster. They go to Chelsea. What's his name? Ted Curd, 19 years old, fresh, raw, no experience. In he comes. For me, solidified again. Then you look at Rochdale, and we'll know this next week. 18-year-old goalkeeper on loan from Man City, Oliver Watmuth. I mean, what a season he's having. For me, best young player in the league this season. 13 goals conceded. A big part of that is down to him. So what am I saying? Ultimately, you will have injuries, suspensions, particularly at this time of the season. But looking at us, we lost Hussein, so we've lost a big engine. I think the lads have done very well to kind of get where we have without him. We've lost pretty much Kendall for most of the season, but we do have several strikers. But I just think give Kev a bit of help here. We've sent 2 players out on loan, and for me, I want to be looking at. I don't want another. No disrespect to him, but another Taylor Foreign who's going to come in, sit on the bench. No one else wants. In all honesty,
Yeah.
I want to see young Premiership players or Championship players that are fresh, raw, that are going to sit on the bench, saying, "Right, I want to prove myself. I'm going to come," because we've got experienced players at the back, haven't we? Ralphie, Goodliff. So anyone that comes in aside those are going to have that experience. They're not going to be thrown in, against players with inexperience around them. They're all experienced defenders for us.
Yeah.
So personally, I would like to see 1 or 2 maybe players like when we took Brunt on, he was young and raw. Harrison Neal, same with Casper. So there's got to be players out there that are chomping at the bit just to get a bit of experience. That I just don't know. I feel like we're missing an opportunity. And what I don't want to see is another Taylor Foreign coming in to fill the gap of Crowther. Because How has that made any
Yeah.
difference?
Yeah.
Don't know. What are your thoughts?
Can I? I'll throw a question out there for both of you.
Yeah.
Do you think that our previous let's say, right, let's have it right. After our previous chairman, Ron, the dealings and how we've treated players has been nothing short but absolutely shocking. All right, it's
Yeah.
well documented. They're not getting paid, the facilities, all the rest of it that go with it. Now, players talk, agents talk. Do you still think there's a little bit of a hangover from that in terms of because there's a lot of bridges to be built. You know, we there's a lot of players that I think once upon a time would have come to us, but I now think that you know agents and other players, your colleagues and other professionals, they talk amongst each other, and if they've had a bad experience, they're going to share that, and it may just be that if they've got one or two clubs looking at them, and one of them's us and one's Rochdale, for example, are they leaning more towards Rochdale because they're they know they're getting paid now? I know all of that has changed since Kozu have come in, but there's still we've got to try and rebuild those bridges and stuff. And I just wonder, are we still feeling the effects of our previous regime?
I think
I,
there's, I think that's an interesting question. Definitely, I
yeah.
think it's kind of hard to say yes or no, but I feel like from a fan point of view, I think there probably could be, to be honest. Yes, it's probably not something I've thought about before, but yeah, it's an interesting question, definitely.
I'm not sure because you look at, I think maybe a little bit, but then if you look at who we've brought in quality. Harry Boyes, I mean, he's been such a signing for us this season. You know, Dallas is a very good player, and Sam Austin as well. Very good experience. He knows how to get out of the league. Decent player. So it's not like we haven't got quality in, but
Mm.
I just don't know what is stopping us bringing quality loans in.
I'll tell you what I think it might be, to be honest. I don't know 100%, but just my kind of thought is, and kind of worry, I guess, is are we just a little bit complacent, to be honest? We think that, not as fans, but maybe at the club, we just think that, we've got a good team of players. And I guess you kind of look at Brunt, for example, and you think, well, we've already got loads of midfielders. Why would we need another one? And I feel like that is maybe where we're different to Boreham Wood in that sense, where Boreham Wood already have good players in those positions that think, look, let's get another one in because we need the depth, we need the players to get out of this division, we need the quality, and there's nothing wrong with improving on a position, even if it's a good position. So I just feel like, I don't know if complacency is the right word, but maybe we're just happy with getting just inside the playoffs, and as Charlie said, kind of exploring the lottery of the playoffs.
I mean, if you look at our recent sort of history over the sort of last couple of seasons, what's stopping us from really progressing is we're just not able to compete with these top six sides. Now, don't get me wrong, the playoffs was a slightly different situation, but that's a one-off sort of match, isn't it? Once you're in the playoffs, it's like Finn said, it's an absolute lottery. But it's throughout the season. I think if you look at where we play the top six, I don't think we've got many points off of them. And these are the clubs that if we're going to be competing, we've got to start getting results at these places.
I think it's
Yeah.
2 points, Charlie. I think off the top six so far this season. I could be wrong, but I
How
think
many?
it's 2 points. I think it's just 2 points off the top six
Is
so
it?
far this
Yeah,
season.
there you
I
go.
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I heard that the other day.
yeah.
Going back to your point, Finn. I mean, I love Brunty, as you know. Get on really, really well with him, and I would have loved him here. But listen, I'm not saying we should have got Brunt because I'm confident in the players we've got. I
Yep.
think we've got very, very good players. And on our day we're good enough. Go back to the York game. I mean, York for me were a fantastic side with fantastic players, but we were as good as them. We matched them that night, and it could have gone either way. So I do think we have a very, very good squad, and I'm confident in our squad, and I'm confident in Kev. But I think it's not, the squad is a bit limited in terms of the size compared to others, is what I'm saying. If you want to solidify your place in the playoffs, you've got to have a decent, reasonable size squad, particularly this time of year when the games come thick and fast. The cold weather kicks in, you get the injuries, you get the illness. Dallas, point in case, Hammy's gone, Saturday.
Yep.
Now, if it is a
Yeah.
hamstring, you're looking at minimum 3 weeks. So you've got to have the backup players. We've got players on a tightrope now with suspension, and I just wonder if the players are concerned about getting bookings. That's why they're not going into tackles late in the game. Tiredness kicks in. There is that worry there. I mean, Kev has taken players off recently, last few minutes, to protect them. And for me, I just think we do lack maybe one or two. We could bring one or two in. I mean, I guess the time. Listen, hopefully Rochdale will be postponed again, and we'll get some players back from injury.
Yeah.
But I mean, you mentioned losing Leon and Keenan were two big losses at the weekend. But that is the case in point. That's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I guess obviously National League there isn't a transfer window, is there? Obviously it's different for the football.
No.
Now obviously we've got January, it's fast approaching now. It's not a million miles away now. I'll be amazed if we don't look to do some sort of business in January. But again, it's only going to be in the loan market this time of season. You're not going to be picking up star strikers, midfielders that they're going to be playing. So it's just, I appreciate we need to build on the squad and get depth, but I just don't want us to see us sort of rely on loan players, because then we've seen it time again. They play brilliantly for us, and then at the end of the season they move on, and we're just basically trying to fill that void again for next season. It's just really difficult, isn't it? Because we're so close, we're really not that far away from it. It's just, like I said before, one or two players that can just get us over the line. Before we went toe to toe with York, Carlisle. Other than those two goals, crazy sort of opening 20 minutes. After that, we were. I'd say we were the better team. But we had those two, Clark. What's the name? There's apps. They're class players. That's what we're missing. Just someone who can just put that bit of quality, just turn the tile on its head and put it to bed.
And that's the point, Charlie. We have the quality. We do have the quality, but these guys are not robots. They need protection as well. They need the backup, the fresh energy to come on. And I mean, losing Leon and Keenan, there's two in case. I think Nori's showing to be a big loss as well.
One thing I just want to say, I don't know if this will be an unpopular opinion, but it's just about Crowther, and I just think I'm not going to sit here and say he's our best centre back or one of our best defenders, because I don't think he probably is quite at that level yet. But I think it just seems weird to me, the whole situation, and obviously we don't know what's going on behind the scenes or anything like that. So could be off with this, but I just think personally I've been quite shocked at how he's not even been given a single minute in the league this season.
It's strange.
Or anything. It just seems weird to me because, and particularly now, all right, he might have just sat on the bench, but I think he's only been on the bench one time this season. And, there's times like last game we couldn't even fill the bench, but we've got him out on loan. And I think
we couldn't Saturday, could we?
No. And I think it's good that he's out on loan now and getting a bit of game time, but I just wonder why we haven't given him any game time at all, because and this has kind of happened a few times with Kev, I think, where there's just been one player who's just kind of not been given any game time at all. I mean, we talked about Jack Wood before, when I thought whenever he played, I thought he was quite good for us, to be honest. Keenan had a spell of, I think he went 4 months without playing a game, without starting, even though whenever he was playing was brilliant. So it just seems weird to me that there always seems to be one player who's just getting no game time at all, no matter what. And maybe he's not our best defender, but what I'm saying is I would like to see him at least given a chance, and I hope he does well at Boston.
Yeah, absolutely. Charlie, as a former keeper, I've got a question for both you guys, but I'll start with you. For me, both Hazy and Colin, they're not making that goalkeeper shirt the number one. They're not saying, right, I'm going to be the number one man. I'm in now. I'm going to keep hold of this, because it just feels like whichever one's in, 3 or 4 games in, they're like saying, "Yeah, do you want this?" Do you know what I mean? Yeah. What is going on with them? They both seem to be dropping clangers.
Yeah.
and losing us games at key times is frustrating, which is why I mentioned the young lads that Boreham have gone and got and Man City have gone and got. You've got keepers in lower leagues that are dying for just a minute.
Yeah.
Do we not say, right, one of you guys, you're going to go out on loan, going to bring one of these guys in. If you're not going to do your job,
Yeah.
what's
I
your
mean,
thoughts?
I wouldn't say I'm given a goalkeeper's opinion as part of the GK unit. I had a handful of very, very amateur games in goal, so
Yeah.
do not take what I say as
We heard
gospel
about that
by
one the
any
other
stretch
week.
of the as any stretch of the imagination. But just in general, I think we've got to remember Colin is a very young goalkeeper still. He's the amount of games he's played for his age is incredible, and you don't get to those sort of numbers at his age for being an average keeper. Now, some of that come in a time where he didn't have a choice but have to play realistically. And then, he started the season, really well. Then Hayes has come in. I mean, yeah, Collins. I think sometimes Colin can come across like it's not an arrogance thing, but I think he's just so confident in his ability that sometimes he's a little bit too confident, maybe, which is maybe what sometimes leads to some of these mistakes. Sometimes it can be, I mean, you've seen, he wants to try and turn the ball over quickly when it needs to be held on to a bit more and, gives it away, cheaply and things like that. And I think if he cuts that out, I think he'll probably be our number one keeper, to be honest. I think he would be my first choice. But obviously Hayes has now come in and he gives you something different. I think Colin is very good with his feet as well.
Yeah.
Now Hayes is, he's a tall keeper. He's probably a bit more commanding in the box. So he gives us something different. And I think again, Hayes, he's not a million miles away from being a really accomplished. It's just got these odd little moments. And I mean, goalkeeping it's all about decision making, isn't it? They've got to get that decision right at that moment because if it's wrong, ultimately it's an open net behind them. Now, obviously, if you're a midfielder defender, you've always got that person behind you to sort of help you out and get you out of trouble. With a goalkeeper, 9 times out of 10, you make a wrong decision or an error, it's normally leading towards a goal or an opportunity. And I think if we can just eradicate those simple sort of stupid decisions, not even stupid decisions, but wrong decisions, and just try and
Yeah. Lack of
be a little bit calmer.
concentration.
Yeah, and a little bit calmer under the pressure. I think both of those keepers, I think, would walk into any side in that league, the number one keeper, or the vast majority of them. But like you say, it just seems that neither of them, sort of really want to say, "I'm having this shirt and you're not taking it off me." It's just there's a little bit, and I mean, ultimately, Kev sees them training day in, day out. He will make a decision on how they're performing in training and stuff like that. I don't think Kev's one to make a sort of a decision based on a one-off game. I think he's come out, and I think that's right because there's a lot of pressure in the game and things like that. To then just call someone out on one bad decision, I think is pretty wrong. But I think Kev obviously sees them day in, day out, and he will pick who the best performer is. So ultimately,
Unless
we
we
have to
pull his
trust
hair
Kev in
out.
what he does. But
Yeah.
they're not making it easy for him, that's for sure.
No, they're not. I mean, if we had Oliver Watmuth, yeah, okay, he's been coached at a high level. But if we had Oliver Watmuth sitting on the bench and he got a chance, I can tell you now, no one's getting that jersey back because he'd be
No.
like, no, I'm keeping this.
I
And I
think
just feel like, I don't know.
one thing that I've kind of noticed, I guess, from watching the games, I think towards the start of the season, I think no one can deny that Colin had a superb start, and obviously we had a good start, and I think towards the start, he was keeping clean sheets a lot of the time. He was playing really, really well, and I think if you kind of compare that and then compare him now, I think one of the biggest differences I saw in him at the start of the season, I just saw how commanding he was at the start of the season, and for once, I think my biggest criticism of Colin, because I'm a big, big fan of Colin, but the biggest criticism I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
personally would be he's probably not commanding enough. and probably doesn't use his voice, probably doesn't shout at defenders as much as you'd like from a keeper, which probably to do with his age as well as Charlie mentioned earlier. But I think at the start of the season he was really doing that. And I think
His age?
now,
Oliver Watmuff. I keep coming back to him. 18 years old.
Yeah, it's very true. But I think some of the commanding and kind of leadership stuff is something that you pick up over time.
I think it's more character than age.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So I think it's,
obviously you've mentioned, Phil, about young goalkeepers and things like that. But I mean, realistically, the two goalkeepers we've got are very good quality goalkeepers. And if you look at defensively, we don't concede a huge amount. We've got probably one of the best, well, certainly up there with one of the better defensive records in the league. So I think if we were conceding regularly and we had a real poor sort of defence record, then I think there'd certainly be shouts for getting our other goalkeepers in, experienced goalkeepers, young goalkeepers, whoever it may be. But I think all the time we're up there with a really good defensive record, it makes it very, very hard to then, how do you then go to a goalkeeper and go, well, yeah, we've got the best defensive record, but we're going to ship you out? Because, if that was me, I'd be absolutely livid. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, what else am I supposed to do? In the top, it's just really tricky, isn't it? It really is.
Well, listen, it's the problem Kev's got. Thankfully, he's got the problem. That's why we're doing a podcast. We can just chat about it.
Yeah.
He's got
that's right.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to head into the halftime show. You can tell I'm on one tonight. I'm definitely getting ready for my black belt exam, aren't I? I'm on for a fight.
We need one of the girls on to be a calming influence.
Yeah, exactly. Where are you? We got news from the academy and we got teammates with Andrew Dallas. So don't go away.
This is the halftime show in memory of John Gorrell.
Okay, let's have some positive news. So, Academy played this week. They had a double header. When I looked at the fixtures, I thought maybe there's an error there, or maybe it is because they've been doing so well in the Cup that they've got now suddenly all these fixtures come thick and fast. So, yeah, they did have 2 games in 3 days. So, they played Maidenhead on Wednesday. This is the under-19s. Won 6-3. 4 goals from Harrison Lamb. He's a really good player. I've really been impressed with him. Teddy Wooland got on the score sheet, and Alfie Humphrey, another very good midfielder. 6-3 win. And then we played Boreham on Friday, scored 6 again. Unbelievable. Lamb picked up 1. Joe Poxon, lively little player up front. He got 2. Chinadam got 1, and Magaranyanga got the other 2. So the boys are just scoring for fun. Under 17s, they played Enfield away in the Cup, National League Alliance. They lost that 1-0. I know Enfield are a very good side, so that was a very tough game, probably for them. But yeah, listen, the under 19s, I know they cannot wait for FA Cup 3rd round proper. Home match, Roots Hall against Swindon Town, now confirmed. Wednesday the 17th of December. I cannot wait for this game. And I'm sure those lads, speaking to a few of those, they're absolutely buzzing about this. If we can get a great attendance to get behind them. I mean, they play great football. My biggest worry, Charlie, is Danny Heath is doing such a big job. Club's going to be like, right, I'm going to have you. You speak to him quite a few times. You spoke to him a few times. Yeah, listen, remarkable. What a big game for them.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge, and one that rightly so they should be excited about. It's a real achievement to get to where they have so far, and fingers crossed this isn't the end of the road for them in the competition.
3-0.
Like you say, to get could you imagine? I mean, if this is a 3-0, I tell you, next game I'm straight down that bookies. I'm telling you now.
You're right.
No, take nothing away, because it's rightly deserved as well. They play some brilliant football.
Yeah, they do.
Such exciting football. And Danny's, you can see when you see him in his interviews, and also I'll chat to him, we don't sit too far away in the ground, so chat and stuff. And there's that rapport with the youngsters, and everyone sort of fighting for the same cause. There's a real camaraderie amongst them all, and I think that's paying dividends this season. And yeah, to get a home draw at Southend at Roots Hall, on a Wednesday night under the lights, too right, the boys should be excited. And I think we should really. I mean, I'd imagine it would just be the East Stand opening, but if we could get as many in that East Stand,
let's fill it up.
I mean, I'd be pushing to get the North Bank open for them, because if we can get enough noise there, it could be a really good evening for them. But yeah, it'd be great to get some real numbers down there. And I think, hopefully a lot of the lads now, it's quite well publicised how well they're doing. So fingers crossed that we can, especially that we haven't got many home games this month.
Yeah.
It's an excuse to get back down to Roots Hall and cheer them on.
If you're listening to this, get yourself down there for this game. You will not regret it, because as Charlie said, they play some great football. There's goals all over the pitch. There's a number of players in that team that have got the potential, and we talk about potential. There's a lot to feed from that to make it, but I believe there's a number of players there that have got the potential to be a first-team player in the future, and this could be the first time you see them. So get down there, Wednesday the 17th of December. Let's make it a great Christmas, and let's go and see a 3-0 win. They like a 3-0, don't they? I'm going to get down the bookies tomorrow.
Yeah, I might be joining
Good call. Good call, Charlie. Good call. Right, here's a player who does know where to put the ball in the net. It's Andrew Dallas with teammates.
Best and worst dresser. Best has got to be Marks. Worst has got to be Slavy. He gets a bit of comments on his outfits. Best and worst trainer. Best trainer. Probably Boise's good. Applicates himself every day. Worst trainer. It's a bit harsh because everyone works their nuts off. Worst playlist. Not really heard many boys' tunes. Collins isn't the best. He's been in the changing rooms speaker. Team Joker, probably Colin as well. He's funny, man. He can't understand me yet, so between me and him it's funny. He was always late. Keenan's had a few fines for being late. Most intelligent. Yeah, Hopper's quite clever. Who needs help? What's that? Just in general? There's a few that need help. Who pays the most attention to themselves in the mirror? Like Copes, maybe Boise as well. What would be a football superpower? Probably to pause and rewind, maybe 15 seconds, so you know what's going to happen, and you can just re-go again. But I would take it from the Magic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that was Andrew Dallas. Great lad. Wish him well in his recovery. Hopefully he's not going to be out too long. But yeah, he confirmed what we all know. Keenan's always late. Tom Hopper, one of the smartest, doing his law degree at the minute. Tom, smart guy. Yeah, not too much we didn't know from that. But yeah, superpower. What would your superpower be as a player? Start with you, Finn. Dallas would have a 15-second pause where he can go back and, that'd be a great one.
Strictly speaking, as a football player, I'm wondering if I just go super strength and then just go like CDM and just bully everyone off the ball. I'm thinking a ridiculously long throw, a bit like Tommy Tonks. I think something a bit weird like that where I can just, launch him in, make it my signature.
Charlie, what will you go for?
Oh, it would either be something like bionic legs or something, so you just would never break your legs or succumb to any injury, or it'd be something like Mr. Gadget, where like you just or like Mr. Gadget's extendable arms, to reach into the top corners and things like that. Like just stand on the spot and just your arms pinging left, right, and centre. Something like that. Go on, what's yours?
I think I'd have invisibility, just cause havoc.
Yeah.
Robbie Savage would be getting a slap on Saturday a few times.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what was that?
There's a big issue with that.
Oh, you could cause havoc, couldn't you?
If you score a goal, no one will believe you did it because they can't see you.
Exactly.
So
don't care about that. Just cause
score a
havoc.
goal and they'll just think it's the win.
trip over who you want. You know what I mean? The lino,
Or
take
the
him out.
ability to freeze players.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, you're frozen.
There
Mate,
we
I think
go.
we've got a couple of those already. I don't think we need that. Oh, a bit harsh, bit harsh. Yeah, I thought it was a good answer. Good answer. Right, coming up next, Rochdale away. Now, first question, is their damn pitch going to be playable or not? I think you mentioned, Finn, now, haven't it relayed after
Yeah.
our game, which is weird. It's this time of the season to
off,
relay
yeah.
a pitch. I don't know how that's going to take. Must have an exceptional groundsman. Well, obviously they haven't because they've had many problems with it. They haven't got good covers. Covers went on last time and the rain still got through. So the first question is the game going to go ahead? In some ways, might do us a favour not going ahead to get a few players back from injury. I don't know. But yeah, listen, it's going to be a tough game. I think anything but a draw with Rochdale will likely see us drop out of the playoff places this weekend, maybe just temporarily, because I don't see anything but a Hartlepool win at home against Yeovil, which would put them above us on goal difference. So yeah, thoughts, guys? It's going to be a tough one, isn't it?
It's going to be a tough one. It's a bit annoying that they're relaying their pitch the day after the game with us, but it would have been nice to play on that nice pitch. But oh well. Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough one. But weirdly, I was saying it to you before the podcast. I'm really positive about this game, and I say that maybe for a few reasons. So one, I feel like we tend to do all right when we go to their ground and play against them. I feel like our boys and our fans, I feel like we're always quite up for it. So I'm positive on that case, and I feel like it's just quite a Southend game to win. So like we lose, the last game, and like just when fans are feeling a bit like, oh, I'm not sure about this season, then we suddenly win a game. So I'm personally feeling confident, but probably more out of delusion than knowledge.
Well, I mean, they're having an incredible season. We mentioned Oliver Watmuth. I mean, what a fantastic season he's having. And then we've got two guys up the other end, if I say his name right, Desaruve and Rodney. I mean, both a handful. Got goals in them. Score for fun. Charlie, what are your thoughts, mate? How do we stop those two?
Yeah.
We've got Taylor back, obviously.
We've got Taylor
lost
back,
Miley.
which, I mean, Taylor's going to be a huge bonus and positive coming back into that lineup now. I think Gubbins has done anything, wrong since he's been in, to be fair. So I just feel like at the moment for Gubbins, he's just not sort of getting that clean sort of run, is he, at the moment? Now maybe that's, he accepts, the part he's playing in the squad this season. But yeah, I'd imagine, obviously, you look at.
I guess, Charlie, that does give us a centre back on the bench at least.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And that's what I was going to say. It gives us that option, doesn't it? Now, I mean, Kev alluded that Goodliff still might be not 100%, that he's a bit of a warrior and playing through the pain and things like that. Now, with Taylor back, it might give, just an option to rest Bubba a bit, or put Goodliff, or put him on the bench.
Possibly.
So there's options there, isn't it? But ultimately, I just think we need to there'll be lessons learned in terms of holding off on players and allowing them to run through. I think there'll be, we need to put a stop to that earlier on, a bit higher up in the pitch. Don't allow them to come on to us and sort of give them that option to take a shot. It'll be interesting. Also, we spoke quite heavily on the goalkeeping situation, whether there'll be a change there at all. And there'll be other decisions to be made. As I say, Dallas, we don't know if it's his hamstring. It's going to be unlikely that he's going to be available.
Yeah, you're looking at least 3 weeks if it is.
Yeah, Walker's was a bit ill. Hopefully he's through that now this week. Slavy, seems to be, saving grace at the moment, as long as he can keep fit. I mean, the worry is that if he picks up an injury, then we're really going to be in a spot of bother. Obviously, we've got Tom as well, Hopper up top as well to call upon. So it's going to be a test. It really is. They're doing exceptionally well. To be fair, I wasn't expecting them to be where they are to be honest. They've surprised me. Thought they'd be in and around the playoffs, similar to us, but I didn't think they would be sort of having the season they're having.
No, especially with the likes of York and Forest Green that have spent a bit. You're right. I mean, they're having an amazing season at the back and all over the pitch, really. It's going to be a really, really tough game. I guess our only saving grace is the pitch is not at its best. So if the game does go ahead, we've both got to play on it, and they seem to be doing all right on it, actually.
Yeah.
It is a hard one to call this. It really is. I mean, our lads will be, certainly they would be, I don't know. Some of that positive energy may have gone from that game. It's how you bounce back, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you allow that energy to creep in? I'm sure Kev won't allow that. Or do you say, right, let's put this right, and go out there and put on a performance, which we've done.
Yeah, and I think there won't be for fans. I think it's different for fans and players, isn't it? For fans, you want that instant kind of success, and it's very easy to get sucked into doom and gloom. We see the team once a week, and the players see each other. They would have been in the next day, going over, looking at where the improvements need to be, picking the bones of the game. And actually, I think in hindsight, once the dust has settled, you'd look at that game and go, actually, there's a lot to be positive about against Forest Green. There really was. So I don't think they'll be too down about the result. Yeah, you want to get a result, but ultimately, I don't think they'll come away and feel that there's a lot of work to be done. And we've seen them time and time again. We've had one or two poor results, and then they'll go on a spree and turn it around. And that's just the frustrating
It'd be typical
part.
Southend, wouldn't it, to go and get a result there?
But that's what I think is just the frustrating thing, is because we've got that run in us, but we just seem to have to wait to lose 2 or 3 games to then go on it, and then we're kind of playing catch up on the points we've not picked up. So actually, we're not, any higher up. We're just sort of clawing back that gap of points that we've sort of dropped. But yeah, it's going to be tough, and I think if we can come back with anything, it'll be a real positive. Let's just try and come back with something.
Right, let's get some predictions. Who are we going to start with? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm going to start with you, Finn. All right, should start with me.
Let's start with Phil.
Let's go you.
I'm going for a postponement. Listen, like I said, I've got my 4th Dan black belt exam Saturday. So by about 4 o'clock, I'll be having a couple of whiskies, getting ready for the evening do. So I don't want to be miserable. I might switch on and go, hey, lads, we've just smashed them 2-0 away from home. Mightn't I? All right, listen, I'm going to be bold. And say it's either going to be a postponement or we're going to go there and surprise us, get a 2-0 win.
Well,
I've had too many bangs on the head this last week, haven't I?
Well, I've had a score in my head for a little while.
Come on, Finn, hit us with it.
I'm going to go with a 3-0 win.
Oh, blimey. Blimey, Finn.
Well, there's no kind of reasoning behind it. I just think we're going to have a shock win.
That will be a shock. Be a shock. Stranger things have happened.
Should have
Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should have put Finn after me, because I'm going to just bring it back down to reality. I think a little bit. I'll bring the mood back. Yeah. But I think it'll. I think it'll just be a real cautious. I think it'll be quite a close game. I'm going 1-1.
Yeah, well done,
At
Charlie.
least one of us is
that's the sensible. Sensible.
Otherwise, if you'd have said 2-0, everyone's like, "What a bunch of clowns on that podcast!
Yeah,
What's wrong with them all?" At least we got some normality.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think it will be probably, I don't know, a 1-1. But listen, no, I'm going to go bold, go 2-0. It's going to be my day Saturday, so I'm sticking to that.
Finn's having none of it.
Yeah, exactly.
The only way that's right is if it's 4.
Let's see what happens. So back next Monday for reaction from either 1-1, 2-0, 3-0 or match postponement. We shall see. What else could happen next week? You never know. Have a great week, guys, and we'll see you soon. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and up the shrimpers.